Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anime Gaiden, the anime side story. I'm Steven.
I'm Sawhill.
And today we're going to continue our journey through Fire Force Vigilante. Then we're going to talk about Oshinoko Season 2. And, Oshinoko Season 2. Let's just do the first arc because I'm not caught up in the full thing.
Okay.
So it's in all Tokyo Blade arc.
Oh, yeah, true, because there is a second arc. But it's like only a few episodes at the end of the season.
Yeah, I finished Tokyo Blade. They just dropped a huge DNA bomb.
Okay, you got that far.
Yeah.
So it's leading up into the next arc.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure I'm doing the Tokyo Blade arc. And then lastly, we're going to do a quick little first impressions on Yaiba. We have a special edition of our little... Yeah, we still come up with a name for our little snack thing.
Yeah, snack of the week. We do need something more hot.
Yeah, let's call it snack of the week for now. Oh, wait, we don't... We're fools.
What?
We already did the snack of the week.
Oh, right.
I really wasn't looking forward to that bar.
So it was kind of a blessing in disguise.
So
now we have another week to find something else because if you remember, 3 episodes ago?
Yeah, what flavor was it? Taro?
We had the Taro.
No, red bean milk flavor.
Red bean milk flavored
Packet patisserie. Sufuchi.
It was trash, and you were not looking forward to the other flavors, so here's one of the flavors, egg. We probably actually won't be trying this ever. Hopefully not.
I feel like we have to. Okay, so on with that. Yeah, it was a good week. We did some different things. I know we all had weird weeks at work and stuff. I'm starting to get back into cocktail making just for funsies. I don't know why.
We had a cocktail right here.
In all fairness, I made it last night, and it was a frozen cocktail. So
it was a frozen.
So I don't know what it's gonna be like now.
I don't know what to think.
Tastes syrupy.
It does.
Tastes better last night.
What's in it?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, drugs.
All that drugs. Yeah, it looks like there's a powdery substance in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, we were making our own simple syrups last night. Everything was my first time making simple syrups. No, I did not put any of those simple syrups in this drink. Basically, this was just originally it was just a twisted pina colada.
Okay. Yeah, I just know that.
Put a little creme de cacao in it, but the way it's settled overnight, it seems like only the pina colada mix has actually stayed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's getting really
the alcohol base in it.
Rum. Yeah. Kind of that big old bottle of rum. Couldn't unuse it.
Yeah.
Crack it open. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then we have just before we get to it fully, we are going to be cutting to a video today for our snack of the week review because
we use 2 snacks. Then.
Yeah.
3.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There's 3.
No. There might be multiple items.
Yeah, but it's different snacks.
2 places, I guess.
3 snacks, 2.
But then we're going okay, there was a poutine involved. There's a spicy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, we're spoiling it.
So yeah, I don't know if I.
Okay, 4 snacks.
There's 5. Okay, but yeah, we'll cut to those videos and see how it's going. So right off, let's just kick it into Fire Force. So this was season 8.
Season 8?
Season 8. Episode. It's been a long week. Yeah, episode 8. So first and foremost, to settle the debate from last time, 100% they were eating bugs.
Yes.
Now, we know they were eating the bugs, but I'm actually still very confused as to I was really hoping they were doing they were incubating the bugs, and maybe that'll still come to be, but I'm still confused as to they were eating bugs that whole time. How did it take so long for them to become infernals?
Yeah, something has to be triggering it.
Something has to. I mean, they all happened at once, and then why didn't Hibana and Iris, right?
Which I'm sure they'll get into.
I feel like they're gonna low-key give Iris a power or something.
Or it's just a matter of those who get power survive it, and those who don't.
That's what I mean. That's why they have to give Iris a power, because she doesn't have one.
Which, yeah, obviously it's leading that way.
Well, so you know it happens.
I don't know anything.
You're a liar. I kind of already figured as much from when they were fighting earlier before Arthur got in there, and then they all thought they were gonna die from that one blast, and then Iris was praying, and they were all fine. So I already figured she had something, but
they've had some teasers.
He's not a very good poker face. I'm right. Anyway, so yeah, no, that was kind of gross, but also like I don't know. I was
Yeah, but eating bugs in different countries too. So like,
it's true. Have you eaten bugs? I've eaten bugs.
you said in Mexico you did?
Yeah, in South Mexico. Okay. I don't. There's like 4 bugs on a tortilla, man.
I heard it's high in protein.
Just tastes like the forest floor on your mouth. You could feel the legs. Ugh. Yeah, it wasn't. That was the flavor was fine, but the texture was.
I feel like if I was to do it, I would eat it like ground up or something. I don't think I could do it. Oh,
So I'm pretty sure London is actually becoming home to like a grass, not like this London, like a grasshopper protein or cricket protein.
cricket protein is like the new thing coming.
I know, and I think there's a factory opening in London to produce it.
I am intrigued. I will try it.
I'm sure it'll taste fine.
Yeah,
Like
cricket butter's a thing.
yeah, well, I'm sure it'll taste fine because we're in a decade where, a time in the world where we could literally just create meat in a lab.
Well, if you think about it, a shrimp, for example, I don't know, I was just seeing the shrimp chip bag from last week. A shrimp is like a bug. It has legs.
What is it actually categorized as, though?
A crustacean?
No, there's no way it's a crustacean. So the other fun part is they did the alchemist thing. They turned lead into gold.
Yes,
in France.
That
with a hadron collider.
Which
is crazy. Cool. I mean, it immediately dissipated and vanished, but there was a moment.
Yeah.
Where they had turned lead into gold. Not intentionally as well.
A shrimp is a crustacean.
It's a crustacean? Not really.
With an elongated body and primarily swimming mode locomotion.
Oh, well, there you go. We got the crustaceans. We've done our science schnick for today. But yeah, no, I thought that was going to hit a lot harder. Like, I thought they were going to do more about that. Or, I don't know what I was expecting exactly, but I felt like that part was going to be bigger. And then there's the whole, like, shivering thing.
Well, I guess, what was that nun's name again?
Sumeri.
Sumeri. How, like, she's actually, like, over 250 years old.
Yeah, that part was cool. Like, going into the history of stuff, I like that part, but I'm like, her power, no, I didn't really like. Like, I feel like there's, especially in this, like, the last legs of this, they're really trying to reach.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I did like the notation of her being so much older, and I get it. Like, I guess the shivering thing gives her a reason to want the world to burn and stuff, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what comes of it.
And they finally explained infernals and human combustion.
Yeah, that I really liked. Also, how she just casually summons the child infernals. Does that mean like the rest of them could do that? Like anyone with an adult burst can do this?
Say that again.
When Sumeri, she summoned the like children infernal.
Oh yeah. Or maybe that's just her.
Yeah, I have no idea, but like, there's definitely something like she's been around for a while, but
I feel like that's one thing with Fire Force. It's really cool. I'm enjoying it, but there are definitely things that just aren't adding up 100%.
Well, in the whole doppelganger thing, at least they describe that now, like, which we kind of already knew. It's just like a mirror world, but the mirror world is fire.
And whenever they come into the human world, that's when human combustion starts. If they can't connect.
Yeah, and then the whole cataclysm is just the entire existence of the world doing the same thing.
Yeah. Which didn't even go, it wasn't successful. It was supposed to be a bigger impact, but then I guess didn't have enough energy.
Yeah, it wasn't successful enough. It didn't merge properly. And then Arthur with the whole Orichalcum thing.
That was funny, and how it's like an RPG game.
I fucking love it, and I love
him tricks Arthur into thinking that his sword is made out of special. Oh no, Arthur said his sword was
made of Orichalcum. It is.
Bralkin's like, oh no, that's actually a fake material. We'll go find the real one. And Arthur's like, oh, bet now I can get stronger even.
Well, I think one of my favorite things about that is, like right away, so he convinces the other two to help him, so it's a 4-man party and everything.
Yeah,
and then as soon as they go up to Arthur, you see what's the girl's name, like Vulcan's.
Oh, I forget, the redhead.
Yeah. Let me see. Anyway, you see her going through, and like she's dressed up in like a scantily clad outfit. And I was like, damn, as she was kind of like the only one, like Vulcan had a hammer and stuff, but there wasn't like anything that exceptional.
Lisa.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, did Vulcan actually get her to dress up? And then it was like, no, it was just what Arthur said.
Yeah.
It was so good. And then they leave him with the little riddle. He's like, yeah, he's got to figure it out himself. It'll help. It'll help. It'll help.
And you completely misinterpret.
We're going to the Nether.
Yeah, and everyone's like, so what the fuck? Like, fix this quick. Which, based off of the preview for next week, they'd end up going there.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's hilarious. Like we talked about last time, there has to be some sort of level up happening for both him and Shinro. Like Shinro's, well, you could argue that Shinro's, I feel like Shinro's is really just going to be like the whole Super Saiyan thing, where it's like, okay, he went into this crazy battle with Burns. In that, he unlocked something special, which we kind of saw a little bit, and then now he just like knows how to use that a bit better or a bit more on command.
Yeah.
But this is a really fun way to do it for Arthur Boyle.
Yeah, and like how they convinced the whole town to go along, but they're just like acting like RPG NPCs essentially,
and they just repeat the same thing over and over again. Who is your favorite Boyle?
Who's my favorite
in like TV movie? It's such a common last name.
Who has popped this question so last minute?
I come up with them last minute, man. It's not like I thought about it.
Well, I don't even know that.
I have my own Boyle in real life, but like not somebody I know with the name Boyle. But my favorite Boyle would have to be from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
And Sam is my Boyle.
Is the name Boyle?
No, but you've met Sam. Sam's my Boyle.
But he's your Boyle.
He's my Boyle.
Yeah, that Boyle is a good one.
Yeah, he's my Boyle. That's a whole family of Boyles.
Let's hope they're not watching.
Hey, Sam, if you're my Boyle, can you please give me the mother dough? I want to make some good bread.
I'm trying to see what other Boyles are.
You don't have to think of that seriously, buddy.
Nope, I am now.
Well, okay, so in terms of Fire Force, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next. Like, I want Shinro to get something more than just whatever we saw with Burns, because again, I felt like he didn't get anything new with Burns. He just kind of like tapped into something he had already done. Because I can't remember, did he get the blue flames when he was doing the training with Benimaru?
Not that they showed, I don't think.
Okay, so I guess the blue flames was the new thing. Then it was like the full-fledged version of the Benimaru fight. I'm not gonna lie, right now I don't have so much to talk about with Fire Force because it was a bit of a weird episode.
Yeah,
you get bombs at the beginning in terms of story, but it was kind of just like, I feel like it was a weird. They shouldn't have stopped the last episode when they did, right? They should have taken the first part of this episode, lumped it in with the last episode, instead of getting a cliffhanger.
Which is hard to do, though, when you're limited for time.
Yeah, but I mean, they replayed that same clip like 5 times.
True.
In the last episode. So, like, they probably could have, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And then this whole episode is like the I'm going to call him Boyle, damn. The Arthur journey, right? And just have be its own thing. Because it was weird to just have like so much intensity at the start and this joke.
Then it's going to fun.
Like complete jokes, like basically filler.
I am intrigued with, obviously, they've talked about doppelgangers for a while. I'm intrigued on where they go with that because obviously everyone has a doppelganger, they said. There's always a mirrored version of everyone else, and then
the one thing they weren't super clear about is and I guess we already kind of got the answer. And the Adola. I think we're just calling it Adola, that's right. Yeah. Because I was going to say, well, like, if the people who have fire powers, I guess it could explain the like different levels of power kinetics too. Like the closer your doppelganger was able to like merge with you, like to fully combine,
strong you are,
would explain like level 1, 2, 3, like control and create.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say we don't know if like do like Shinro and them, do they have like a doppelganger in existence, or is the resulting of their power the merging of the two? But we kind of got that answer with Burns already.
Yeah. Because
Burns had powers and he had no Dola bursts and he was still shoehorned.
Yeah.
He was put on a coat rack. Yeah, I want to jump straight into Vigilante, to be honest. I don't know where you're feeling with this, or if you've got anything left in terms of
I think
Fire Force
covers it. I can't think of anything else to really cover.
So in terms of Vigilante, I really like this. We're talking about episode 7. Now, there's a really cool thing, and I saw it going around the internet before I saw the episode, and now having watched the episode, I see just how true it is. They basically brought in their Lois Lane. Like, straight up, they brought in their Lois Lane. Their reporter who kind of always, I mean, in this case, her quirk literally lets her know if people are lying, which she always knows she's lying. She's always getting herself into trouble. She's very like headstrong and intuitive.
Well, I guess we should dive into kind of what goes on in the episode first.
Yeah.
So Koichi, well, how the episode starts is cool. How he's working on his powers. Like working on leg sweeps and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's coming up with new
opportunities with like throwing his
I don't
weapon.
think that was the start of it, was it?
Yeah.
No, it started with him complaining, like explaining his life. That he was like, that he was working, his job was killing him, and he was trying to like catch up in school.
Oh yeah, but that's very modern.
Well, I mean, kind of, but the way that he meets Makoto is because she sees him studying, and they make the
was that for?
yeah.
Oh,
And then they make the deal about like, hey, I'll help you study because she's in an older grade, and make sure you pass these tests instead of your school stuff. But I need your help. I want to do some research in this area. You live there. Let's figure this out.
the research is vigilantes, and we find out that heroes started as vigilantes. So when obviously everyone started getting powers, it was kind of a shit show. And then vigilantes popped up to try to regulate them, which then the government's like, well, we're going to make you heroes now since you're already kind of doing the job we want from you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets to a point where they pretty much insinuate that heroes and vigilantes, the only difference is who they can really truly control and who's marketable as well as a hero versus a vigilante who could also be perceived as a bad guy.
Yeah, so like I said before, I love this crap. And I really hope that they continue to use vigilantes to dive into this idea as much as they have. So first and foremost, we have real vigilantes in real life. Like there's, what is it? In the UK, there's the Batman guy and stuff like that. But like that's an actual thing. But aside from that, I just love that that they're going into like the geopolitics of it and trying to like describe the world and really get to the essence of something. And I think bringing in this character of Makoto, who is very much like a Lois Lane, is very important to that. What I do like about this too is they're paying homage to hero culture in My Hero, which I really always like because they're always like the first heroes are in the States because like superheroes started with superheroes in the States and all that kind of stuff. I think it's super interesting that what you're talking about there, because in My Hero Academia, they really tackle like the racism side of things in terms of heteromorphs, but they don't go and they do a little bit with like Shinjo. Is that the mind control guy's name? Anyway, with a few people, they go into being like, oh, you have a villain's quirk, but this way they're trying to be a lot more general about it. I also do think that, what I do love about it too is there's so many good references in this episode, but like I love that they're talking about the United States and they're like, oh, it's people are arguing that it interferes with their right to bear arms and stuff like that. Or they were talking about like kind of like Big Brother, like the conspiracy theories, the state's always watching. Could they do this so they could control these heroes via being like controlling how they label them villains and stuff like that, or how you become labeled as a villain? Because they're like, yeah, it was less about getting heroes in place and it was more about how to define someone as a villain.
Yeah,
which is a huge crazy thing. So you have the whole Big Brother thing. They also had the crazy Watchmen reference. Who watches the Watchmen?
Oh yeah,
that was fantastic. That's so I didn't expect that one coming. It was really freaking cool. I love that they brought the inspector in, and that's for older brother.
Yeah. Though it threw me off because of the eye colors at first with her character, Makoto.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was like, wait, is that the same girl? And then I realized it was, but I was like, wait, why are her eyes different? But maybe her eyes only color up when she is using her ability.
Yeah, potentially. Her ability, just so everyone knows, is polygraph. If she's touching you, she can tell if you are lying, which our boy Koichi got away with so easily because everyone's calling him the crueler. So she tried using it on him. At the very end of the episode, she's like suspecting. She's like, just one more question. Are you the crueler? And he's like, nope. Because he's not. He's the crawler. Yeah. So he had no problem with it whatsoever. The fucking soccer quirk. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is it? Like, he's just, like, crazy maneuverable when he's got a soccer ball?
Yeah, like, something about the ball itself is, like, his power.
Which doesn't even make sense. And I love how they even say that in the show, that they're like, is that even a quirk? Because, like, how can your quirk need a soccer ball? Like, how do your genetics know? Like, couldn't it, like, anything that you use like a soccer ball, that's one thing. But like you need a soccer ball.
Either it's like something to do with his lower body, or he doesn't even have a quirk potentially.
Well, if he was definitely dribbling because he needed to activate his quirk.
So yeah,
Otherwise, there's
something to do with his legs. Like,
hell, it was just so stupid. I also love when they were showing like all the OG vigilantes and the flashes and stuff. There were again so many just references to like actual existing heroes.
like Robin.
Yeah, there's a lot of Robin, and then you had the guy with the eye on his shirt.
Oh yeah.
Which could honestly, color wise, I'd say more is like Incredibles, but obviously could be Invincible too. No, it was really good. Makoto herself, cheeky as fuck as a character.
Kind of going to what you were just talking about with the other heroes and like them being centered in America. Again, it's cool how they implemented American comic designs, which I like that.
They do a really good job. Like that's one thing I've always liked with the creators. He's always done a really good job of taking the comic book culture and merging it very well with like manga culture.
Because obviously superheroes are a big thing within American comics, and with manga, it's starting to be more of a thing. Like obviously, it has been a thing for a while, but it's never been centered around superheroes.
Yeah, that only really started like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So the other cool thing is, we're almost at 100 years of superheroes.
Superman?
Well, Superman was the first superhero. So basically, by the time he turns 100, the superheroes have been 100. Been around 100 years. 1938.
That's crazy.
It might have been 37, actually. I might be off by slightly, but
imagine that comic book coming out. Everyone's gonna buy that 100 and
they're gonna do like an edition of it for sure. They actually Metropolis, Ohio has a giant Superman statue in the center.
Cool.
Of it, and they do a weekend Superman celebration, a weekend long every year.
That's pretty cool. Have you been?
No, I'm gonna go on the 100th anniversary. Gonna have to play that shit out like probably a year and a half in advance.
Yeah,
to make sure you actually go and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
just so you guys don't know, I'm a Superman fan.
He has a tattoo.
I do.
Sure.
Yeah, I do. I can. It's actually a friendship tattoo too. Fun fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his other percent. Zach has Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Sam has Flash.
Defender. Yeah, Justice League. Sorry.
Yeah, like the Flash, and no one has Batman yet.
Interesting.
There was someone who was supposed to, but that's a long story.
They're no longer with us.
He's the Dark Knight. No, seriously, I really like this episode. Again, with Makoto being so cheeky, that's always like fun and refreshing. I love the research that they were doing. And he's like, oh, I wonder what everyone thinks of us. There's just so much happening in this episode. Like, they really gave us a lot about the world building. And like, again, some things that was maybe a little bit more dry and boring with like the geopolitics and stuff like that and worldview. But they did it in such a fun way. It's like, oh, yeah, so basically everyone just thinks the Crueler, not the Crawler, the Crueler is creepy and nice. Everyone just thinks Pop has a fantastic ass.
Yeah.
Which I'm like so confused by because like I don't even remember her costume that well, but I'm pretty sure it's like a ruffly skirt or something, isn't it? In which case you wouldn't see her ass. Like it's a cartoon.
Well, she doesn't pop up, so they probably get it from a view from beneath.
I'm sure it's not that good of a view from beneath. Like if they got to shoot like it's basically like a really short ruffly skirt over top of some leggings or something. There's no way. If that's the case, there's no way. And then obviously Knuckleduster. What do they call angry grabs or no? Well, I forget what they always call him, but anyway, I was really like, okay, fair enough. A lot of ass. A lot of ass. What did you Google?
Just Pop Step.
And okay, for sure is ass. Nice. Okay. Apparently, the real world also agrees that she has a fantastic booty.
Ass.
That's a terrible picture of trying to say someone has a great ass.
Yeah. It's mediocre.
That's flat.
It's not flat, but
it's pretty flat, bro.
Like,
it's pretty flat. Bro, in this art, her fucking thigh has more of a bump.
Yeah, that's true. Not legs, not ass.
Send me that picture because we'll throw it in.
Yeah, this one she had no ass.
Okay, I don't want to look at like a 14-year-old ass or something. That's for a different time. Oh, I'm kidding. Or am I? Now. Okay, Before we continue, we forgot to do our snack because we at the very beginning we don't really do that at the beginning. We will put the video in, but just so everyone knows, we went to Galaxy Burger in Hamilton, and we went to
Rudy's in Burlington.
Ontario. Yes. Both were fantastic burgers, both very different kinds of concepts. Like Rudy's was very like basic. We're fear about the burger. Yeah, I think they probably have somewhere between, they're probably somewhere around 10 franchise locations.
Starts up. Alright, well this is Anime Gaiden. Here we are at Rudy's in Burlington, Ontario. New Look opening weekend. I got myself a big Rudy tattooed with bacon.
I got a tattooed Rudy, because as you know we love tattoos here.
And a poutine over here. Soft drink over here.
Got some fries.
And here we are about to try it, give our first bite.
I'm not gonna lie guys, I'm extremely picky about burgers.
Yes, he is.
Like to an unfortunate degree.
That.
To an unfortunate degree.
It's gonna be a messy one. My beard is gonna need a washing after this.
You know what would be good? A beer. I actually love it.
I was hoping that.
Look at this. So right away we're gonna talk about the crust here. Pretty solid crust, you know. Good amount of onions and bacon and cheese. I'm happy with that.
I feel like this is like a Big Mac style burger.
Definitely greasy and I like it. Yeah. Probably like a 3.5-4 ounce patty. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I'm just gonna take a bite and find out.
Go nuts, buddy. Go nuts.
That's very good.
The beef's there.
But yeah, no, they're super nice. The guy who served us is also a Philadelphia Eagles fan, which is dope.
It's like I gotta throw it in.
Yeah, I gotta throw that in. And then yeah, even like Talia, we came all the way from London. The dude are like super stoked. So.
Yeah, no. In hindsight, we probably should have told him about our podcast.
Yeah, we should have.
Fuck.
Damn it.
Okay, we're really bad at that. Anyway, so before we go into the meat and potatoes one, which I think for both of us is going to be Oshinoko, let me just quickly give a general surmise of Yaiba. So I'm not going to give you like a proper explanation or summary of Yaiba, Samurai Legend. It is on Netflix. I think it's had a couple TV adaptations. So far what I know is there's a kid who grew up in the jungle with his dad, trying to be a samurai. Dad's traveling the world, drops him off with his old like rival or like friendly rival. And he's growing up there as the dad's doing other things, runs into a kid who is trying to be the best in the world as a swordsman. And it's kind of like the refined, respected familial swordsman with this wild kid who grew up in a jungle, who they're both just who's just like finds it fun and is obsessed with sword fighting. And he's trying to, they're competing. I've only watched the first 2 episodes. It's got crazy Dragon Ball feels, but it does so in a way where it's like it's not trying to hide the fact that it's doing it, which I kind of respect. It's not like it's going to be like, oh, I'm going to create Goku and just pretend Goku it wasn't the inspiration. Like they very much merge with it. You know, he's in a jungle, he's fighting these giant beasts, he's friends with all of them, all these crazy things, right? What happened there? Apparently, my notes for Yaiba disappeared, but that's okay. It's a lot of fun. Honestly, it's just a lot of fun. I really wish it was dubbed because it's not something I want to pay a lot of attention to, and it's not dubbed yet. But it is fun to have on in the background. The last episode I watched, they were just getting to this like crazy thing where the jungle kid kicked the other guy's ass, and now he found his like this hidden room underneath his family home where there's this wind sword, and we're definitely going to get into some like magic sort of thing there. But end of the day, it's just a lot of fun. I would recommend it. I'll probably keep up with it, but it is probably one of those ones that we're going to like just touch base on here and there. Because as much as it's fun, it doesn't have a whole lot going on or a whole lot to talk about yet. With the whole wind sword thing, I could see it going somewhere, and I could see it being really cool. The animation style is really trying to give you like the old school anime, like 90s, 80s anime vibe, which I don't love. I'm like, I get it. You're trying to play on nostalgia. You're trying to keep it where it is.
Yeah, but there's a reason. There's a reason why we don't have that style anymore either.
Yeah, it's like time is transitional. So like, I'm not gonna use this as my 2 frames per second simply because I don't have anything specific. But just in general, I wasn't a huge fan of that. I don't really care when people try to do that. Like, it's fine if I'm watching an anime from that time, but
I feel like that might as well be your 2 frames. Let's see, I have something bad.
Oh, I have something. Well, I said last time I was going to try to find a bad one, and
That's her bad one.
couldn't. So that's my bad one. But I'm still going to say the good one because there's one I really liked.
Save it for next week.
Oshinoko Season 2. What do you think, Sahil?
I really liked it. I know you haven't fully finished.
Well, let's just talk Tokyo Blade arc.
Okay. Again, I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. Animation levels were probably one of the best of all animes I've watched this year, I would say.
My 2 frames per second is definitely from that.
Yeah. I also think, so the idea of the arc is essentially there's a play that is being written or trying to be written at first. It eventually gets written, but there's obviously struggles to do so, just with the creative differences with the actual creator of the initial manga and then the theater right.
The playwright, yeah.
The playwright, yeah. So yeah, you had a little bit of that side of things where like you always hear about that with like, for example, the new Blade series or Blade New they're trying to write, and how that hasn't been greenlit yet just because they've been having so many issues with finding a good writer, director.
And this is kind of what I like about Oshinoko. The big thing I like about Oshinoko is there's obviously like this big overarching, really dark, intense theme and plot, but they do such a good job of like basically letting you just forget about that and watching these people live their lives and go about different things. That boom, it's back. Like, it comes in and out so dynamically. We've never really talked about it.
Yeah. Should we maybe talk about that?
Yeah, we could talk about the whole thing as a whole for the most part. But in terms of that, like I really wanted to touch on what they've done as Aqua goes into the business, and even with the whole idol business.
Like maybe let's talk about the main premise, then go into that since it's kind of.
Okay, nuts. You tell me your ass.
So essentially, well, the series starts off with a doctor and his patient is an idol. And she ends up being pregnant, but she has to keep it secret because as soon as you're an idol and you're pregnant, you lose that attraction.
Yeah, you have to weekend inside.
Yeah. And again, they don't want you to just have a boyfriend, relationship, or anything because they want to have the idea where these people watch you stand a chance. Yeah, also kind of fucked up, but that's just how it is.
Well, I think it's like, again, they go into like the whole cute aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if it's about
purity of things.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's about them being able to stand a chance as much as it is about just seeing them as like this idea of like sweet cuteness, serenity, and peace, like and purity. You know what I mean?
Like the whole thing, like back in the day with like virgins. Like if you're not a virgin, you're exactly.
And I think it's just like them trying to like create that idea.
Yeah. So this doctor is actually a big fan of hers, and then she ends up being his patient.
Don't forget about his other patient.
That was just what I get. Yeah, so he also has another patient who's dying from cancer, but her parents are really shitty and are never around, so he's always hanging out with her. She's also a big fan of this idol.
She's who got him to be a big fan.
Oh, is that the reason?
Yeah.
I thought they just happened to be both.
No. When he started like spending more time with her because she was such a big fan, they watched a bunch of things. He became a big fan as well.
So what ends up happening is, yeah, she's pregnant, near time to pop, essentially. Then, mysteriously, the doctor gets pushed off a cliff.
It was a crazed fan, so a crazed fan found out she was there.
Yeah, which they don't get into right away.
Yeah.
They find out a little later.
And, yeah, the doctor ends up intercepting him somehow, and then he ends up killing the doctor, and the doctor gets reborn as one of the twins that just gets birthed by Ai.
Ai is the idol. And then also his patient, the one dying from cancer, also dies. And then she ends up being reborn as the doctor's twin, Aqua and what's her name again?
I honestly don't know.
Ruby. Aqua and Ruby.
I knew it was a color.
Yeah.
Gem or something.
Yeah. So they end up being born as Ai, the idol's children. But they can actually talk still. They have all their memories from their original lives.
Which is so weird.
Yeah. And then, so essentially, time skips a little bit. They're a little older. Ai trying to get into acting, going away from the whole idol business. Aqua, the one director finds talent in Aqua, tries to make him an actor. And then one unfortunate day, someone rings the doorbell. Ai goes to the door and gets stabbed instantly. It is said crazed fan who end up pushing the doctor over the cliff. And then Aqua just happened to be there and was in Ai's arms as she was dying. And at this point, he creates a mission for himself to go in, like, dive further into acting, get into that industry.
Yeah, it's a revenge quest.
Yeah, and find out who killed her, because based off of other things that have been said, he deduced that whoever killed her was involved with the industry.
Yeah, that was intentional. Like, someone leaked the information about where she lived and about the fact that she had kids and all these things.
Because she kept the whole kid thing a secret. No one knew about her having kids.
Yeah, her managers, they pretended that the kids were theirs.
Yeah.
The whole time. So then when she dies, they take the kids in, still pretending that that's the case. Ruby slowly becomes an idol, and then Aqua continues down the path of acting. Well, starts off directing, and then goes to or editing, and then goes more and more into the path of acting to get closer to people in the industry, so you can find out more. So this whole, but it's interesting because you see him take on multiple roles and stuff throughout the first season. But again, like, you see him, like, you get so focused on just whatever plot line they're actually showing that it's very easy to forget that, oh yeah, shit, he's got this whole mission of finding who his mom is.
Because no one else knows this. He's kept this a secret even from his sister.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they both know that they were reincarnated into these bodies, but they don't know who the other one was or the other one's age when they died in the previous life. So he doesn't know that the sister is the old patient and the patient doesn't know it's the doctor.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like that's got to come to a head at some point. I'm really intrigued for when that does. But with this one specifically, you know, at the end of season 1, he gets a lead where he's like pretty sure this director knows something and might even be potentially the dad. Is kind of how they lead you to believe. So he joins a play and does all this crazy stuff.
In the same theater I worked for once before.
And it's one of those where, like, it tackles a lot of social issues, but what I really appreciate about it is how well it explains industry things to everyone, and really, like, makes that interesting. And through what the characters are going through, you get to explore both that character, understand them more, see their growth and where they're going, but also learn some stuff at the same time. Like, they complement each other very well. Sorry, I put something here. Yeah, so Christina, I was watching with Christina, and she basically, I asked her, well, what do you think about it? And she's like, not a lot's happening. And I was like, well, that's kind of the point. Like, the point, you see it with Vinland Saga does it great. Frieren does it well. Like, the point is not the plot moving forward as much as it is. It really takes the time to dive deep and really make you understand pivotal characters, where it's like season 1 was like, episode 1 was needed. We talked about it. Needed to be super long. It was fantastic. It was amazing. Absolute masterpiece in my opinion. But then you have all these fast forwards and all these, like, plot movements and introducing characters. Whereas this time, instead of introducing a whole bunch, they took the time to really let you sink your teeth in and get to know these characters, what their problems are, where they started from, where they're going, and kind of watch them develop as they go throughout this play. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, because they take like different actors from the first season and bring them into this play for the second season. And again, they don't show a lot in the first season, minus what's his girlfriend's name again?
I don't remember.
So Aqua has, again, he was in a
fake girlfriend.
Yeah, has a fake girlfriend, and for the first season, he was part of this, like, dating reality show.
Akane,
yeah, that's it. And in this dating reality show, they're just putting on an act, like, it's not actually real, but they start dating in the show, and honestly, that whole plot line was super.
It was so good. Like, the way they handled it again, it was just so good.
But yeah, we won't get too far into that one.
Yeah, basically that show's over, and they're just holding up an image for a while.
Yeah, but they still, like, develop this relationship. So even though they're not actually dating, they're definitely friends. They definitely someone they kind of rely on. They do rely on each other.
Yeah, they grow closer and closer.
Yeah, especially with this play. Obviously Aqua has his mission, which he ends up confessing to Akane. His mission of finding,
kind of,
not truly. He just says
it's on what if,
but someone in the industry he wants to kill.
And
she's like,
even then it was like on what if.
Yeah, and even she was like, right off the bat, I'll help you.
Yeah, like, she's head over heels for this.
Yeah, and she's like, hey, I want to be the best actress possible. There's obviously other good actors in this play, and I want to be the one who shines, and I need your help to do so. And then even just like with, like, some of the side characters, they kind of get into their whole development, and I guess you can kind of talk about this more because you have done acting, and the sense of not overthinking it and maybe just playing to your need
So-
and what you're strong at.
This is part of why I like it so much, to be honest, is because they did such a good job of it, again, explaining the industry, explaining the differences between film, TV, theater, and all these things. They explained a few kinds of acting, that kind of like technical acting. They explained, when you have talent or when you're going to go more deep into a role and kind of like assume someone else's personality completely. Then they come up with the emotional impact. Then they come up with using your own and connecting to a character and their struggles via your own traumas and stuff like that. And honestly, they did all so well. I went to school for acting originally, and I did that for a while. Still kind of do here and there. But I can tell you my own journey personally was more similar to Aqua's in a sense, actually. There's something called the actor's third eye, which basically means as you're acting, you're kind of like watching yourself and directing yourself at the same time, which if you're going to do really good acting, you cannot do. You really have to be in the moment and just kind of like be engrossed in this environment or this situation. So that was something that I struggled to get over with. And I've had very much the opposite experience too, especially with something like Shakespeare, when you learn it really well, where you come off the stage and you're like, holy shit, I no idea what I just did, because it's so emotional and you're so just with the moment. You don't have to think of lines. You don't have to think of blocking. You don't have to think of anything. It's already in there. It's memorized, and you're just kind of like completely encased in the moment that's going on. But even then, the way they use that to, again, delve deeper into the characters and explain how they came to their individual approaches to acting, I thought was very, very interesting and good. And I think that did two things. I think it built crazy audience understanding of these characters, while not just explaining the characters, but the industry as a whole. And it was really cool, to be honest. The duality that they did there was very interesting.
Yeah, and I like how they had it's not like the episodes are spent practicing for this play, and then the last episode is the play. They kind of go into scenes of the play and whatever characters are in that scene, and then their process of preparing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of like joins it all at the end, which I really like.
I did like the bowing thing. That was fun.
Which bowing one?
When they decided to show all the characters like their final bows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Also, the one thing I really liked about it is the play they were reenacting. It's called Tokyo Blade, and it's essentially like a shonen.
Yeah, 100%.
And it comes across...
It's actually
the episodes come across as a shonen.
Yeah.
And so it gives you that action feel. It's not just a drama at that point. Like, you kind of have both worlds there, which was really cool.
Well, what I really liked about what they did with Aqua, and anyone could have felt it, but when you're doing acting and you do have to try to connect to a character, especially if one feeling like really visceral, intense emotion at the time, and you use the method of connecting via your own experience, it's fucking wild, man. Like, I remember to this day, I was doing a class, and I got asked to prepare a monologue. It's like 5-minute long monologue, super emotional. It's from A Time to Kill. It's like his closing statement as a lawyer by Matthew McConaughey.
I remember that.
Super intense moment. I had 3 days to memorize the entire thing. I worked the entire time, so I'm like prepping food and memorizing lines and stuff like that. And then I go in and I do it. And right before I went to the class, I was kind of just running lines, and I was like, oh, there's this line at the end where he cries and stuff like that. How can I relate to this? And I was really racking my brain because I wanted to do it justice. And I remember in my head, I just switched the line from, because if you haven't seen the movie, it's basically, it's all about racism in a certain day and age in America.
Honestly, a really good movie.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's absolutely amazing. But there's a line where he's trying to appeal to a court of white people for this young black woman who got, girl, really, not even woman.
Yeah.
Who, let's just say, got abused and beaten and treated horrendously by a couple of white guys who just got out of prison. And he's trying to connect to them to get justice. And he says, tells a story and then says, well, what if she was white? And for me, I switched that in my head. I was only like 22 at the time. I switched that into my head to, what if she was mine? And I'm telling you, it hit so much, not a dry eye in that class. And I was exhausted. After 5 minutes, I was just wrecked afterwards. I was so floored Because in my mind at that moment, I'm either connecting to things that have really happened, or at a really high degree, I'm imagining people that I know and care about if that exact same thing had happened and what that would look like. And to actually go there is crazy. And they did a really good job of showing what can happen to somebody when they're trying to go there and just how crazy that is. So like my challenge to you would be like, the next time you see an actor do a really good job in a really intense scene, just imagine the kind of thing that they're trying to connect to, just to show you that, because it's wild.
Yeah, because like in the show, when Aqua is trying to tie his own emotions into his character, and again, like how the character was written was different as how Aqua perceived it, similar to what you said about changing up a singular line there just to make it more personal. And even with like his crying, like the director who pretty much looked after Aqua his whole life alluded to Akane being like, hey, like last time, like he would have panic attacks when he was younger, when he truly really got into a character, that ended up happening to him when he was older as well during this play. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, man, like, are there other actors who didn't go through similar shit like that? There must be. Like, it must be, like you said, you felt the emotion, you felt the exhaustion, just putting yourself in that character just for that 5-minute line. Well, not just for that, but like especially that line.
Well, I mean, I think it's really relevant that there's a slew of actors that you find out usually way later that have a lot of mental health problems or different things like that.
Well, like a Heath Ledger.
Yeah, and actors do it because they like it, but there's also something to be said, especially when you're taking on those really meaty, juicy roles. Like, I liked acting, and I got into acting in the first place because I liked the self-discovery and the challenge of getting a better understanding of what it means to be human, the human situation. It brings a lot of light to things. But it's hard, and you being able to draw that line and know where to go in and out and control that is not easy.
For sure.
Is really not easy. And I think that's where you see the massive difference between somebody who does it well and somebody who's just kind of like thinks it's cool and is having fun, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between the craft and then just kind of doing it. And we see it all the time on TV. And unfortunately, we're kind of in a weird age, in my opinion, for acting, where it's like, kind of have a lot of both. We're in a place where, you know, there's a lot of like streaming services that try to bring these new actors who are good to light, which is awesome. But at the same time, you get a lot of mediocre acting too. And it's kind of sad because you get these new guys who it's like, okay, they're pretty good, but because they're so focused on getting new faces all the time, those people don't get more roles. And because of that, you don't get to see them actually like grow and evolve into even better actors a lot of the time. So kind of shitty that way.
I think another cool part was, that's, again, I don't remember the guy's name, the guy with the purple hair.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who was in the first season, wasn't a great actor. They did like another manga adaptation. He kind of just butchered it. So a lot of people were kind of hesitant to see like if he would be able to live up to the character he's supposed to portray. And at first, like, he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. He was just like holding his own. But then like the final scene, he really steps it up, the most impactful scene. And it kind of just goes to show it's like, yeah, you might not have to be the best actor, but when called upon, if you can just do that right thing at the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, you see actors out there who are very popular in a lot of things. Overall, are they great actors? Maybe not the best, but
they can play one thing really well.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting to know about that too is, have you watched a lot of theater?
Not a lot. I definitely do enjoy it. I've seen like the Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables.
So we talked about how picky I am with burgers. You should see how picky I am with theater. But anyway, I think so. When you've seen an incredible show, and that requires a lot of things. It requires a good play, but most importantly, good actors and good directors as well, and basically a whole team. It's actually wild, and I've only had this experience twice. And keep in mind, I went to school for theater, so I've seen a fair bit. Once was during a performance of Diary of Anne Frank, and once was, and my favorite was Chekhov's The Seagull. Now, I'm telling you, you completely forget that you're in a theater. You don't even remember that you're a person, really. You're just kind of like an omniscient being just watching something, like watching the world happen around you, essentially. It's kind of what it feels like, because you completely zone out, and you're just completely engrossed in what's happening on the stage. I'm telling you, I've seen it where there's an actor who for the whole first like hour and a half of a play doesn't even face the audience or say a word, but he does such a good job that you can't not look out. He's just kind of walking around, his back's always to the audience, and for whatever reason, he's just pulling all of your attention. But there's something to be said about like this moment where it's like all of a sudden you as the audience are so engrossed that you're all breathing together. Everything's silent. Everything's like that visceral connection is something you can only get through theater. And they touched on that too, like the theater versus film stuff. And you can't get film, TV, you get this intricacy of being able to get close, right? And see the subtleties. It's a lot of eyes, acting with the eyes, small facial movements, all these other things. Theater, you have to try to express genuine emotion, but in a large enough way that everyone can see it and feel it. What I will say, I prefer acting in film and TV, but when theater is done well, it is a massively different experience, and it is the best films you've seen. You kind of get the same thing. I always relate it to like horror movies, where a really good horror movie, you're sitting there watching it at a theater for the first time, and everyone goes at the same time. That kind of thing, but the entire thing. It's not a scare moment. It's just the entire. And you get that in movies, but you can feel it in the air with theater. Like, it's crazy. It's thick. It's dense.
I feel like with theater, as you said, even as the one on stage, I feel like someone in the audience is kind of feels something similar.
Well, we're aesthetic creatures, right?
Yeah. So like, because it's so open, you have the whole scenery, you have every single character in one view. It's so easy to get immersed in it and like put yourself just as a bystander at that point. Versus TV, you do have it on some shows for sure.
Yeah, if you're done really well, you still get that.
Yeah, but I feel like with theater, you get that even more so. And I know like in Oshinoko, Aqua alludes to it, was like, oh, I've always hated theater. It's always kind of cheesy. It's always just like, just too much.
Mm-hmm.
But again, once you actually see a good play,
yeah,
and things drawn the way
they are few and far between, in my opinion.
It's magical.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the reason I bring it up is, well, I mean, I do think empathy plays a huge part. Like, if you see a picture of a young girl devastated and crying, or if you see that young girl in person, it's massively different, right? So I think we still, on an empathetic level, connect with the energy that's coming off of the being that's physically in front of us, and that's a huge part. But my point to bringing that up is, if the audience can feel that level of emotion, having nothing to do with the play, being potentially dozens of meters away, or even further, seeing a little speck on a stage, imagine what the acting partner feels. And I think that's where it comes into, they demonstrated that very well too, where it's like the second one person picks up their performance, that person becomes what we would call a very generous actor. They're giving a lot.
Yeah.
And the more they give, it doesn't matter how good you are as an actor or how good you are at receiving, your performance is immediately going to be elevated.
Like the whole part with Arima?
Yeah, the whole bouncing back and forth, as all of them really. Like, the second someone gives a lot to the role, anyone adjacent to them or in that acting scene with them
feeds off of it,
takes that energy, because we're empathetic creatures. So if the audience in the back of the room can feel it, imagine what the person 2 feet away is feeling. And they take that energy and it immediately goes into their performance, because acting is simply reacting. I mean, technically I would say acting is living in an imaginary circumstance, but anyway, we're bouncing off each other, right? So you give me something and I just build that up and give it back to you, right? And it just continues, that momentum. It just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. It elevates the entire performance.
Yeah.
That kind of went off topic.
Yeah.
Here.
No, I think it's not off topic. I think it's on topic, because again, that is the main point of that arc in general.
Yeah, it uses the dynamics and those very real and visceral dynamics of what happens when people are actually, Kodo, you love being on the show. Anyway,
on the show.
With using those very real dynamics and situations to really let you see these characters at a raw, visceral level, rather than having a bunch of random little plot points to it.
Yeah.
They use this medium of, oh, they're performing a play and this is how they prep.
Yeah. I guess if I was to rate, are we going to rate the show?
We should probably,
or the arc?
We'll rate the arc so far. Yaiba, just so you guys know, I'd give it a 6. It's like 6,000. It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. It's fun, but it is just kind of like slightly enjoyable entertainment in the background.
And then in terms of the Tokyo Blade arc, like, it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10. I think it was phenomenally done. Like, and I don't have any issues with it.
And like, I know you were going to say your 2 frames per second in a moment.
Sorry for waiting to the end for 2 frames per second.
Yeah, but like again, the animations were unreal. And again, I think that helps. Like I know you talked about with Yaiba how they kind of go back to old animation style, and it just wasn't doing it for you. And I did again. There's a reason for that because what they're doing now in modern anime, it's part of the reason why I like anime. Because I think anime is telling a story is one thing, but being able to put it on screen and making people like just not be able to take their eyes off the screen, I think that's one of the most important things. I'll take a picture of that one. Football.
Safe name. Look at you.
I think that alone is special. And again, even if it's not, the show wasn't like Tokyo Blade wasn't the show, it was just the play. I think it was cool that it didn't feel like you were watching a show during a play. It just felt like another show within a show.
Yeah, they do, like I said, they do such a good job of making it so seamless in how they transition between things. And I really think that was amazing. Yeah, I'd have to give it an over 9,000 for sure.
Yeah,
over 9. But Cody, you're not drinking the booze. We know you're a booze hound. 2 frames per second. I have kind of 2. Definitely from Oshinoko, it's definitely a positive. We already talked about my negative with Yaiba and overusing that old animation style instead of evolving. But it would be either when they were showing the ping pong theater match.
Oh yeah, that was
driving like others. So I actually didn't know they did that.
the 4D.
It's more than 4D. Like
I think it's called
like the rotating stage and everything.
Oh, the rotate. Yeah, I think that must be like a.
It's got to be a specific thing. So like I go to Japan, I'm gonna check that shit out if they have that. I got to look into that, but because that's really cool. But the second part would be, and really the real one would be when they're rehearsing the first time and they're using their scripts as swords and stuff and all that stuff, but they're using the paint splashes.
Yeah, that was
to show when actors are really using their emotion and how it's spreading. I thought that was really cool because there's even exercises in acting that are very simple, but it's like I'll say my line to you and at the same time I'll throw you a ball.
Yeah.
And you catch the ball and then you say your line as you throw the ball back. And it's to just demonstrate that what I was talking about, that we're sending and receiving things and we're building and they basically use the paintbrush strokes to do that, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, that was the first thing that stood out for me as well because I think that was like the first or second episode.
So they did it little bits throughout.
Yeah, they're like that real headline. Yeah. I think mine also, I'll stick with Oshinoko. A little different over 2 frames per second. I thought it was really cool how, yes, they had a lot of different emotions, a lot of negative emotions within the show, but just how they portrayed it with the animations. And like with Aqua, just anytime he had to channel those inner demons, there was like that negative aura around him. And yeah.
Like they always use the sparkles and then all of a sudden his goes black.
And then even like with Akane, when she's really channeling a character, she gets the sparkles in her eyes too. And then I don't know if you noticed, I only noticed this one with Arima, is she has multiple in her eyes when when she's on it. Like,
yeah, I think she's supposed to be the best. Yeah, so and I think they demonstrate that with Ai and how Aqua and Ruby have one eye and stuff like that too.
And I think it's cool because again, like in real life, our eyes don't change based off our emotions. But I think we talked about this in the car the other day. We're people who can really read off of people's emotions, and like when I work out, for example, for me to have my best workouts, I have to channel those inner demons, whatever's really pissing me off. I really try to hone into that. And it's to the point where other people see that. Like I had Rachel's client the other day be like, oh shit, like you could tell like you're really locked in right now. Like you're someone I wouldn't want to fuck with right now. And I'm like, and as soon as I take my headphone, I'm smiling and I'm like laughing. But as soon as it's in, it's like leave me alone.
Yeah, whirls out.
Yeah, so I think it's really cool how the show is really relatable, even if you're not into acting. Obviously, you would be into acting, and just couldn't imagine
yeah, it's fun.
Sort of parallels you saw within your own life. But
and just a side note, real quick, we talked about that suffering actor, I guess, and they did demonstrate that suffering actor, those actors that do have those very real problems in Aqua. But I think they also, and we'll see as the story goes on, I think they also showed how therapeutic that can be. Because sure, kind of saw him facing his younger self and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will keep that any longer.
Wait, there's one more thing. what? The DNA test at the end. Or we're going to talk about that next week.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I meant to bring it up and then we didn't, and I was just going to leave it. But yeah, the DNA test of
It's a cliffhanger for audience too.
Hirakawa being his half brother.
Hirakawa he's actually the star actor. He's the best actor. Again, he's not somebody who has a lot of emotions in real life. He's just super talented.
Yeah.
And again, there's some of those people too, I imagine, in the industry in real life.
100%.
Like people who don't have to rely on their emotions, they just know what to do.
Well, I think the director actually brought up a really good point. Now, this isn't how he said it, but this is going to be my interpretation of it. Often you see a lot of the best people in performance, especially in acting, be people who the talent doesn't necessarily matter as much per se as learn to use their strife from early childhood. And he related Aqua and he related this guy. And obviously we know Aqua's strife is like he watched his mother die and all these other things.
And he died himself.
And then we know that Hirakawa was abandoned, right?
Yeah, they essentially share the same dad. Ai's not Hirakawa's mom.
So it just leads to a thing where it's like, again, we're talking about connecting with all these emotions. You have these kids who've learned to play society's part because they had so much trauma growing up. So for them to succeed in society, they're always putting on a role, and to some capacity, they're always saying, "Oh, this is what you got to do to fit in." So they do that all the time, and then when they're acting, because they have all like the emotional control to do to live everyday life effectively, they're able to more effectively pull from these really traumatic events from childhood and use that to kind of fuel their acting. I think that was a very, very poignant point as well.
Yeah. Oh shit. I didn't think we talked about it for that long, but
yeah, sorry, again, tangent, but
I think it was well worth it though.
100%. Next week we'll see you guys. We're going to continue with Fire Force and see what else comes our way.
We're doing a check-in on Windbreaker.
Yeah, we got to check in on one. I know you're not excited for it, but we got to do at least a touch base. The first few episodes, again, I haven't watched any, but the first few episodes were fire, so I'm actually excited. But you're down on me, buddy. Have a good one, guys.
Later.